The Isibindi project was conceived by an NGO, the National Association of Child and Youth Care Workers, in response to the impact of the HIV pandemic on children. The project aimed to support children through the trauma of losing parents, preferably in a manner that would keep siblings together in the family home. The first community child and youth care workers were recruited outside Durban for training in 2001. The project has since been embraced as a best practice child and youth care model by South Africa's Department of Social Development, to respond to the needs of all vulnerable children and youth.
I became a child and youth care worker because of my own circumstances of where and how I grew up. We are a family of 5, of which I am the eldest. I have 2 younger brothers. I used to live with both my mother and father, who are also consuming alcohol. And as a child, weekends I would flee from home, run away from home, as in literally. When I go to school on a Friday morning, I don't come home the Friday afternoon, because I had this expectation that when I go home, I will find my parents intoxicated, and that was not a pretty picture for me. My father was very violent towards me, physically or manhandling me at times, giving me words like, "You will never mount up to nothing."
When I was in Standard 5 in 2005, I had a friend of mine who had no parents. Her parents died when she was young. I saw the pain in her living without parents. She was living with her aunt, and her aunt was not taking a good care of her. Sometimes we would go to school, and she wouldn't eat in the morning. And even in the afternoon, we would go to the office and ask for food so that we can give her food. That thing I never liked it, because I grew up with my mother. My mother is the father to me. I took her pain, not having both parents, and bring it to me. How would I feel if it was me on that space, without parents, without a mother and a father, without anyone bonding with? That is when I knew in my life I want to be a social worker.
Waar daar Isibindi child and youth care worker gekom het om by ons huis te kom werk met my sustertjie, het ek nie geweet waaroor gaan Isibindi nie. Maar sy het elke oggend gekom om my sustertjie appels te gee. Sy het in die middag gekom om my huiswerk supervision te doen, en sy het altyd vir hulle safe park toe geneem. En omdat ek ook weet in watter omstandighede ek groot geword het, toe wil ek as maatskaplike werker geword het, want ek wou altyd ook kinders help.
My mother and my father were not married. And at some stage, when I was still young, they got separated. They were not together. I was raised by my mother as a single parent, and my mother was not educated. And she was not working. But my mother was always there for me. And I remember I used to complain about not getting job, not able to further my studies, not able to do anything. And my mother used to tell me that wait for your time. You must wait. Whatever God made for you will come.
I completed grade 12 2007. I was at home for most of the year in 2008. Staying at home, I was frustrated. Nothing to do. Then we started going around in the community, praying with different people. And I saw the environments of these people, and I felt like I could reach out, I could do something. Then a child and youth care worker came asking, "Don't you want work?" He said, "Come, bring your CV." The Monday I took my CV in, the training had already started. And when I got there, I was consumed with the content, and I just loved every moment. You know, the child that I never was as a child came out in the training with games and activities and whatever that was played there. I was given, and if I raised my hand to answer a question or to ask a question, the environment was of such an extent that I enjoyed myself. I was me for the first time.
The number of Isibindi workers who have undergone training has risen to more than 5,000. It is now being implemented by the National Association of Child and Youth Care Workers in partnership with the department and local non-profit agencies in more than 150 communities across the nation.
When the Isibindi model started in communities, there was no child and youth care happening in communities. And at the beginning, I said 3 child and youth care workers from Durban Children's Home came to our community because we had no idea of what is child and youth care. But looking at what happened from that time to now, you look at child and youth care workers who understand what is child and youth care, who are proud of child and youth care. And looking at communities and the stakeholders, they know child and youth care workers. They know Isibindi project in all communities. You go to the communities, Isibindi project is known. And looking at the rollout of the minister's plan now, it's adding on what NACCW did with the support of other donors who were part of it. And I think child and youth care field has been recognized.
I'm very happy about what is going on, just the way they catch the life of a child. From home, the children are taught basics that we think people get them automatically when those skills are transferred from home by parents. But also, children ensure that they go to school and then to the safe park to do homework, to interact with other young people, because if they imagine a situation where they don't have anyone to look after them. For now, the only program that I think gives hope to young people is this program. So I want us to support it, and then the rest of the people can come up, but they would have seen what we actually want as a government.
Child and youth care workers typically visit the children daily until they feel they are able to fend for themselves. Thereafter, they visit less regularly while continuing to maintain a watching brief. They work in the life space of the children, instilling structure in the home, negotiating with teachers on the children's behalf, ensuring they have the documents to register for government grants, an income for the family, and teaching the children to budget wisely.
They need to service the children and then give the support to the families who are having challenge, and those who are at risk, they need to provide support to those families, and also to help the young people and to progress in their studies also. If it needs us to visit early in the morning, we need to wake up early in the morning and visit the family to see how is the progress, how did the children slept, and how do they feel up to so far after the intervention that we did with them.
So some families are receiving aftercare services, which is 3 visits per month. And there are families who are receiving a direct service every day. Those who are still in need, where they still have to achieve a lot of things, like they haven't done memory box, they're still doing routines. Because we work with the family until the family is independent enough to work on their own. And once they're independent, then we put them in the aftercare. Aftercare meaning that they will come in the safe park and then they will be visited 3 times just to check things like budgeting, if it's still continuing, and if they're still following on the routines, and just to see how they're managing on their own.
I just look on helping them to do the budget for the family as they receive the foster care grant. I even check the schoolwork. I teach them a routine at home, to clean at home. I even do the memory box with children, helping them to talk about their parents as they've already passed away, making the counseling to them so that they will feel healed, and even to teach them the life skill, the guidance, how they have to behave themselves, as they are the children whom they just live by themselves at home. So I give them guidance. In other words, it's like just like their mother at home.
If you are a parent or a sister or a brother, those children will look up to you. You are their role model. I grew up looking up to my brothers and sisters, my cousins. Yeah, they also do that. When they see uncle smoking in front of them, drinking, having too many girlfriends, when they grow up, they want to do the same. So when we came to this place, we realized those kind of things. We experienced those kind of things before, but now we as child and youth care workers, we managed to make a change.
The child and youth care training and the people, the support systems I had in my life were always saying, at some point, you must find a way to forgive. And when that came, it did not happen overnight. It took its own time. But when it happened, it freed me. For the young people, the young men and women have got child and youth care workers, which I did not have as a young person growing up. And the child and youth care workers do what we call life space counseling in their life space. And they do programs with these young men, young women, and these children, teaching them how to deviate from the anger that they have concerning their circumstances. And what we all are aware of in childcare is that each child's development is different. And that although me and this child, we come from similar backgrounds, we don't respond to these issues the same. So what we do, we create platforms for the children and parents to communicate. We bring in something that is not popular in families, family group conferences. And in these conferences, we guide the children and the parents. Child and youth care worker will sit in the middle of the children or close to the children, just to make his or her presence give that warm support to the young person, empowering them to express, to ask, and at the same time, managing the father or mother's behavior. But the purpose at the end of the day is, when they get together, everybody must be able to come out healed in that FGC.
Vanuit ons nou met die Isibindi die mense die mekaar is my kind baie beter aan en hy leer baie goed en jy kan hom baie goed verstaan. Dit gaan nou baie beter met ons. So ek sien 'n beter toekoms vir ons.
We know that there are so many parents who have lost hope. But now, what we're focusing on, or maybe what you are rendering as a service as child and youth care workers, is to bring differences, both on the child and the family structure. Some of them lost hope. At the same time, they don't even understand there will be a hope soon, if only they will just persevere.
Aha.
When we intervene, you bring that, what you call an ignition of hope, because you're igniting a very stimulating hope to the child and to the mother.
Ke thabile haholo and ke dula ke le hantle fela ha ke dule ke ikutlisa bohloko ke hantle ke thabile haholo fela.
In Isibindi, I have my senior mentor, I have my mentor team, fellow colleagues, I have even trainers and assessors that are based in the Kimberley office. And you see this hierarchy, how it goes down. And at the end of the day, each of them are a support system in work itself. And what we have in Isibindi is supervision. Because in the supervision, we touch elements. We would talk about my professional capacity. We would talk about my personal capacity. We would even talk about my administrative work. And in the supervision, we come up with solutions. What do you think can work out best? How do you think you can try this and that? And then there's the one tool also of the appraisals, especially when one feels despondent and you know you're at the breaking point of giving up. The appraisals comes in, and the appraisals actually reassures me that, hey, Stuart, you actually have done quite a lot. Does not look like it for you, but you've actually made a difference. So there is that, what we call the care for carers. The child and youth care workers caring for each other. And for child and youth care workers themselves, we have somebody, a therapist, coming in once or twice, and they have actually sessions with the child and youth care workers. And after the child and youth care workers in groups, they do individual therapy sessions also with each child and youth care worker. And that is what keeps child and youth care workers going.
This organization, I call it God's organization. This is a sacred work. This work has been sanctified by the great sanctifier, and we have to live it. Anti-racist organization, multiracial, non-racial, all people are welcome to come and serve the child. My poem says, this child, hierdie kind, ons kind, jou kind, almal se kind. This is the mantra and the credo of the National Association of Child Care Workers. And then Isibindi gives us the courage to do it.
In this profession, you must have a heart. Whatever it is that you're doing must come from the heart. Even helping the children and becoming a mother figure to the family, it must come from the heart.
Now that I believe I'm a social tool, I don't think I'm poor anymore, because now I don't need to go anywhere to just go and try to exercise my potential. Children are there and they make you creative as generations grows and grows and grows. Yes. So being a child in youth care work, I realized my significance to other children. I can motivate. My interpersonal skills are so very high at the same time. I realize some families have been going through what I've been through, and me as myself, a child in youth care work, which is what I believe in. I believe that my background will never take me back to ground again. That is why I intervened as a child in youth care.
We brought change to people's lives, and they also brought change to us, because when they come inside, they just give me hope that hey, I don't have a child of my own, but I have more than 100 children in Koma.
When I'm looking at myself now, when I'm looking at Isibindi project, when I'm looking at child and youth care field, I feel like blessed, and I feel like a chosen child and youth care worker. I did not choose to be a child and youth care worker. I was chosen to be a child and youth care worker, you know, because looking at I never thought of being a graduate in child and youth care. I never thought of it, but now look at me. I'm finishing my degree this year, and I'm a qualified child and youth care worker.
This child and youth care, it's a profession. It's a journey that you need to walk. You need to walk with courage.
So I believe that I was called to be a child and youth care worker. I strongly believe that wherever God decided child and youth care must be, and there must be a child and youth care worker, He actually thought of me, and He shaped me right for this profession.